It's been about a year since the first case of COVID-19 was detected in Minnesota. And since then, life has changed and the virus has evolved. Even though we know more about this virus now than we did last March, there's still a lot of information to keep track of. So every week, we'll be asking experts about recent COVID developments. So what do we need to know about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine?
The Johnson & Johnson, or what's called the Janssen vaccine, is a single-dose vaccine. The data on it shows that it's anywhere in that 63 to 85% effective for what's called symptomatic COVID. What's more important is that it's 93 to 95% effective against serious COVID or death from COVID. And that's what I would compare to Moderna and Pfizer, because both of them are above 95% effective at saving lives. Now, we may still get people that test positive after them, but our goal here is to decrease the serious disease and the death. The Janssen one is nice because it's one shot, one time. You don't have to worry about where am I going to be 3 weeks later. We've had challenges with the repeat visits of, well, what if I'm out? What if I'm, a snowbird? What if I'm traveling on spring break? And now with the Janssen vaccine, and we have that opportunity to do it as a one-time, one and done, that will help us out.
What are the side effects of the Janssen vaccine?
The reactions seem to be a little less. So in other words, the fevers aren't quite as high. The malaise or general crudiness is less. It's still there. It's still about a 50% side effect for the Janssen vaccine, but it tends to be more just local reaction, arm pain, muscle aches. Not as much of that, I need some time off of work. You could say that's another benefit of the single dose shot.
Governor Walz estimates that 70% of those 65 years of age and older will be vaccinated by the end of March. What's your reaction to that? Is it possible?
I think this is very doable. Right now, we're at around 53% of our elderly, so 65 plus. We can get to 70% by the end of March, if not sooner. We're vaccinating over 200-some thousand people a week. And if half of that goes to our 65 plus, we can quickly get to that 70% rate and kind of move on to additional, medical groups, other groups of workers, and kind of expand this throughout our state.
How are vaccines being delivered to the state's communities of color?
So a lot of our focus now has been on the 65 and above, along with healthcare workers, teachers, and some other targeted groups. And that's where we've done some work on our what's called the BIPOC, the Black, Indigenous people, and people of color, Hispanic communities. Now shifting into more, we'll say the under 65 with chronic diseases. Many members of our Black and Hispanic communities have these chronic diseases. So we will be able to, continue capturing them. We're also going to need to pay attention to how they get us, so access. They may not be as able to have a digital relationship. They may not be as able to travel to a mass vaccination center. So our goal will be to instead do focused outreach, so bring it closer to their communities, whether that's a church, a gathering place, a mosque, a community center. So right now we're going to be able to do those plans to do more outreach to our communities of color.